The most fun movie of all time, The Return of the Living Dead, a side sequel to Night of the Living Dead, created because series co-creator John Russo retained partial rights. Written and directed by Dan O'Bannon, the guy who wrote the screenplay for Alien, Return of the Living Dead is a more comedic take on the zombie movie. These ghouls don't go down with a headshot, they keep scrabbling around until they get at your dang brains. Can these weird gutter punks survive this nightmare? Probably not. They're Settle down, class, settle down. Time to start learning so you can fill your brains with all sorts of knowledge. Fatten up all those brains, get them nice and juicy. Welcome to our final Back to Ghoul episode this year, where we celebrate the mind-numbing tedium of heading back to school by watching movies about guys with even number brains. I'm referring, of course, to zombies. Today's subject, Return of the Living Dead, is a stone-cold classic from 1986. If you have not watched this movie, you fucked up. You did a bad job. The average horror comedy is neither scary nor funny, while Return of the Living Dead is both in equal measure. Its relentlessly bleak atmosphere, paired with the goofy slapstick set pieces and a truly eclectic soundtrack, make it one of the most unique films of the most unique decade in horror. This is one that gets going fast and never lets up. Clocking in at only 91 minutes, it's a lean little movie with almost nothing you could cut. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and it fills its screen time with inventive stuff consistently. And here's the weird part, it all actually happened. It says so in the opening. They're not allowed to say that unless it happened. Seems unlikely to me, but there it is. Night of the Living Dead also happened, but not like in the movie. In reality, a bunch of corpses in a Pittsburgh morgue got exposed to an experimental defoliant that they made to get rid of marijuana plants, but instead what it did is it made people stop living and become mixed up zombies. Due to a clerical error, a couple of zombos preserved in trioxin are sent to a medical supply warehouse, where two knuckleheads accidentally cause the container to leak. Uh-oh! Now, unlike typical zombos that go down when you mess up their brains, these guys keep coming up no matter what. If you chop them up into pieces, the pieces will keep coming after you. What's more, they're about as smart as normal people, meaning they set traps and manipulate their victims. And they run, they bite, they want to eat your brains. If you ever wondered where the whole brains, where that comes from, it's this movie. These zombos want to eat brains specifically because it temporarily relieves the pain of feeling themselves rotting somehow.
Eating brains. How does that make you feel?
It makes the pain go away.
Seems like kind of a stretch, but whatever. And also very wasteful because you could just eat a whole living person, every bite of them. Sorry, I've just been feeling a little weird, just hungry. Nothing seems to make the hunger stop. Ever since I got this wound, not bite, wound. So what do you do when the cadavers in your medical supply company start to come alive? Well, obviously, you chop them up and burn them, except oops, that releases trioxin into the atmosphere, which comes back down in the form of acid rain that reanimates the dead at the nearby cemetery. Classic mistake. And boy, what zombies they are. Look at this fucking guy, the Tar Man. I am not exaggerating when I say he is the wettest puppet to ever live. He is my future husband once the province of Ontario legalizes both polygamy and necrophilia. Probably the best zombie in any property ever, full stop. I will cut you with the knife if you disagree. And look at this lady waggling her little spine stump around. She's got some fucking style. There's always been something really off-putting to me about this weird yellow guy too. I'm sure there's some sort of medical reason why he's so yellow, like that must be part of decomposition if you're embalmed or whatever, but something about it just freaks me out. I don't like it. Return of the Living Dead is punk rock in every sense of the word. Not just because there are punk characters or punk songs on the soundtrack, though there are both, but in the attitude that the film has. There's no reverence for institutions or authority. The cops and military just make everything worse with cold, dispassionate logic. Everyone treats them with immediate suspicion, not wanting to call for help lest they be blamed for the military's mistakes. And they're right to do so because, and this is a spoiler for the end of the movie, but I mean, this isn't really a plot-heavy movie, so just live with that. The military blows everybody to smithereens with a nuclear missile, and they do it on the 4th of July. What could be more punk rock than that? An ending where the hollow patriotism of the American military apparatus is exposed as the violent and uncaring machine of death that it is. They won't just nuke you, they'll nuke you on Independence Day. The dialogue is frantic and often characters overstep one another's lines, giving it all a kind of naturalistic quality as though it were improvised, which works because jokes don't so much come from funny lines, though there are a few standouts.
Rescue 7, come in. This is dispatch. Do you copy over?
I'm in dispatch. Send more paramedics.
But more from physical comedy and the absurdity of the situations the characters find themselves in. It ain't Shakespeare, but sometimes it's funny to see a guy hit half of a reanimated dog with his stick. I don't have to warn you about that one, by the way. I warn you if the dog dies. This dog starts off dead and gets reanimated. All the weird shit coming to life in the beginning of this movie is both funny and eerie. I love the establishing shot of the pinned butterflies that later pays off when the butterflies start to flap their wings. They just blew some compressed air at the butterflies, made it look like they were flapping. Kinda wish the movie had played a bit more with animal zombos. That would have been a fun twist, but also maybe beyond their scope and budget. Bottom line, nobody could be bored by this movie. You might find the movie distasteful, and you're right, it definitely is. But that's what's so charming about it. Even the shoehorned in nudity is weirdly charming. Actress Leanna Quigley, whose character Trash is nude for most of the film's run because she decided for no reason whatsoever to take off her clothes and then just didn't put them back on, was made to wear a weird codpiece that covers up her genitals because the producers were worried that they wouldn't be able to show the movie on TV otherwise. Like that was the thing that was gonna keep this movie off of TV. She filmed it once, au naturel, and the producers freaked out that you could see her pubic hair. So she shaved, and they filmed it again, only for the producers to say that's even worse because, of course it is. Why would they think that would solve the problem? You can't show pubes, but you can show an entire vagina? I doubt that very much. Why would the pubic hair, specifically, be the problem? Was this everyone involved's first day on the planet Earth? Had they heretofore not been touched by original sin and knew not of the concept of nudity? So they settled on the dumbest solution to the problem, a weird prosthetic application which obscures Quigley's whole zone. In their defense, I never noticed until I watched the movie in HD, but you could have just had her not take off her pants. She could wear pants, and that could be motivated in the scene by the fact that people typically wear pants almost all of the time. The whole scene is sleazy as hell, but also like, yeah, this movie is sleaze incarnate. Here's the nude lady, have fun, you base creature, you animal. Buy a ticket to see the zombos eat brains and see the naked lady, and then eventually see the naked lady become a zombie who eats brains. Return of the Living Dead is uncut entertainment. Just a steady stream of cool shit to look at, goofs and gaffs, all set to a quirky soundtrack with top-notch special effects. I mean, the movie has, the way I phrased that, it made it sound like the soundtrack has top quality special effects. That wouldn't make any sense. You probably understood from context what I meant. I didn't need to clarify that. This whole diversion has been a waste of time. It was born to be a cult classic and is among the best in class. Hey, speaking of class, that wraps up this year's Back to Ghoul event. I hope you learned something, and I hope what you've learned is to watch Return of the Living Dead. Before I head out, does anyone have any final questions? Anyone? Yes, Bobby. Hey, yeah, it's me, Bobby Duke, star of the channel. Quick question here, teach, but the 20 minutes you spent before the lecture today devouring the flesh of your teacher's aide, what was that about? That was a lesson. It was a lesson. That was a lesson. Yeah, like a hands-on lesson. Okay, about what? I'm livening up the classroom atmosphere. Okay, but it does seem like you killed and ate Riley, like for real. Yeah, well, you learned something, didn't you? I cannot say that I did, no. Okay, what? Okay. You're not gonna pass this course. I'm telling you that right now. You've been very disruptive all semester and I don't appreciate it. I'm just up here. This is a noble profession. I'm trying to teach you something and all you do, oh, you turn it into a zombie. Oh, why are you killing and eating people? It never ends.